This watch was sent to me for the purpose of this review by Topper Jewelers. They are one of very few retailers selling this Frogman. Please go to topperjewelers.com, place the GWF A1000 in your cart, and in the special instructions section, please enter Doug FNJ sent you before you check out, and Topper's going to send you a special G-Shock pen while those supplies last. So thank you, Topper Jewelers, for sending me this watch, especially at launch. Now on to the review. Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out my review. Pretty excited to go over this one with you. This is the Casio G-Shock. This is the Frogman GWF A1000 1A. Module number on this one is 5623. So if you do a Google search and do Casio module 5623, you'll find instructions on how to work with this watch. This is the very first all analog Frogman, and I get one of the first copies to take a look at it and be able to go over with you. So I'm excited about this. So first of all, it does come with the regular black cardboard box. You have your barcode on the back that gives you basic information about the model and the module number. And opening it up, you get your instructions in a couple of different languages, of course. You have your atomic timekeeping information. You get your solar information. Just some basic information on the features of the watch. Warranty information. And FCC information that works with the Bluetooth that works with the watch here. So that's the paperwork, and opening it up, you get the classic tin. All black, of course. It's got the G-Shock logo on the front and the back. And you open it up. You get your tag that gives you the price and the basic information. And of course, you have the watch. All right, so this is, of course, the Frogman GWF A1000. It's the very first all-analog Frogman. Any collectors of G-Shock watches, especially over the years, will know that the Frogman typically holds a special part in a lot of these collections. One of the first things you'll notice right off the bat is the asymmetrical design, so it typically sits forward or back on the wrist, whichever wrist that you tend to wear it on. What sets this one apart, aside obviously from being all analog, is typically they would always have the screw back design where you'd remove the battery, but the last couple have had the solar, so you didn't really need to remove the battery. They always have that frog icon on the back here. And you'll notice that it talks about a carbon monocoque. So what they basically did was they put 6 screws to fasten the metal ring that is press fit into the glass. Then they give you a sapphire crystal with non-reflective coating, and then they give you a screw down crown, so this really gives the integrity of the 200 meter water resistance. It gives you a super illuminator with high brightness LED and great lume. The straps are fluoroelastomers, so that you'll probably hear about that typically on an Apple Watch. So it's similar to the same type of material with the soft feel, but it's also a little thicker, so it's not coming off the wrist and it's not going to break easily. Not that the Apple Watches one do either. So that's the main stuff that separates this watch from the other Frogman watches. The 3 o'clock subdial over here is your main section, so this is going to give you the days of the week, daylight saving settings, the modes, the tide graph, and your connection status. You have the 8 o'clock subdial is going to give you dual time and settings within the modes. You have a little dial here at the 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, which is a 24-hour mode. So here's a really cool little feature. If you press the top left button, it'll move the hands away, so this way you can see all the dials. Now, the Frogman has Bluetooth to sync with the connected application for Android or iPhone. Unfortunately, it's not yet available at the time that I'm making this video, so I'm going to walk you through the actual physical watch during this video, and in the future, if I'm still holding on to this watch, I'll likely release something that'll give you a walkthrough on the connected application as well. So the main features on this watch, it gives you a multi-band 6, so it connects with 6 atomic towers across the world. You have a tough solar, 200 meter water resistance. You have diving logs that can transfer to your phone when you complete them. You have tide point settings from preset or set a point on the map in the application. You have auto time adjustment through the app or multiband. You have world time for over 300 cities. You have the watch features dive modes with diving times and surface interval times, which I'm going to walk you through. It's got a tide graph with current time at tide point, stopwatch, and timer, both 24-hour. All right, so now I'm going to get into the diving functions. The Frogman records up to 30 diving log records. So when you get into the 30 or more, it's going to automatically remove the oldest one. So this way it makes room for the new one. To enter the dive function, what you want to do is press and hold the mode button on the bottom left here until the numbers zero out. And then you're going to hear that beep. And then what it's going to do is measure elapsed dive time. So it measures from 1 second to 2 hours. So to get that started, once you go into the water, you press the lower right button, which starts the dive time. And you're going to see that the minute and the hour hand are going to move together. Second hand is going to count the seconds. And then once the dive is over, what you want to do is press the bottom right button for a couple of seconds here until you hear a beep. And then what it's going to do is enter surface interval measurement. Second hand will reverse. And once again, when you press the bottom right hand button again, it enters the dive time and it takes over where you left off. So if you're done with a dive, what you want to do to reset the numbers to zero is unscrew the crown, pull it out one spot, and take note that the period from when you enter dive mode until the next enter calendar mode, this will be considered the same dive. So to create a separate log for repetitive diving, you want to enter calendar mode and then re-enter dive mode. And then to exit the dive mode, I screw back in the crown. You want to hold the mode button for at least 2 seconds and then you'll be back into the calendar mode. Now, when a diving log is completed, the logs are automatically going to transfer to the connected application the next time you connect. And to delete the diving log data, what you want to do is go back into the dive mode. You want to loosen the crown to the first click. And then you're going to hold down the bottom right button for 2 seconds. Hear that beep. And when you put the crown back in, all diving is, you're basically starting with a fresh slate of dive logs. All right, so now I'm going to walk you through the modes, and the way you're going to shuffle through the modes is using the bottom left button here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the first mode, which is tide mode. And unfortunately, the tide mode can only be set in the connected application. So if no port is specified, it's just going to stay at that little dash below the mode. But basically the way it works is when a port can be set, the arrow in the tide mode is going to point to L, H, or L at 6 points during the day to represent the tide. So you can improve the accuracy by pulling out the crown one click and rotating the crown to the high tide testing. But once again, I apologize because the connected app was not available with this watch at the time of this recording. Next up, you have the 24-hour stopwatch. So to get into it, all you'll do is press the bottom right button and it starts it. And that, of course, works with the 8 o'clock subdial. And to stop it, you press it again. And then to reset to 0, you just press the top left. All right, so now we're going to get into the 24-hour countdown timer. So what you want to do to set it is to unscrew the crown to the first click. And then you're going to rotate it to set it in 1 minute increments up to 24 hours. So the nice thing is you'll notice that it's very responsive. You click it a couple of times and it'll go back and forth around the dial. So the hands, you don't have to wait forever for them to hit the spots that you want them to hit. So if I wanted to hit 15 minutes, for instance, I hit my 15 minutes. And then once you're set, you push the crown in, tighten it up. And then what you do is to press the start, you press the right button, and you're going to notice that the second hand is going to go in reverse. And you can pause it, of course, restart it. And when you stop it, if you want to reset it, you just press the top left button there. All right, so in alarm mode, what you want to do in order to set it, you pull the crown out, same as the countdown timer, to one spot. And you're going to use that same dual time subdial. So if I wanted to set it up to wake up for 6 o'clock, for instance, I set it up, put the crown back in, and then to toggle the alarm on or off, you just press the lower right button and you'll see the second hand tell you if it's on or off. And that's it for the modes. All right, so just to give you a wrist shot, this wears a little bit larger than my GWF 1000. To me, it wears like a very large analog watch, really. It's a very comfortable watch with that floral elastomer, I'll tell you that. And then the fin doesn't come up as high as the other watches typically do on the Frogman watches. I have a 7.5-inch wrist. So it's a good size. So that's it for the wrist shot. All right, so now to give you some watch comparisons between this one and other size watches. So this way, if you have one of these watches in your collection, you'll have a good idea on how it would size against it. Of course, you have the 5600. And this is, of course, much smaller than what we're looking at there. Very big watch compared there. The 9052. Much bigger and thicker as well. And of course the GWF 1000. I would definitely say it's larger, but not ridiculously larger. Just about as thick, maybe a little thicker than the older. And this is one of my favorite watches. If that helps. The new H1000, I would say it's H1000 is a little bit smaller than this one. And then, of course, the big Rangeman. And I'd probably say that these are more comparable. The Rangeman's a little bit bigger. Crowns. So that's what we're looking at as sizes. All right, so that's my review of the Frogman GWF A1000. This is the 1A version. They do have 3 colors, of course. They have the black that I just reviewed, the blue, and the red. I want to thank Topper Jewelers for sending this out to me. Once again, if you put my name in the cart referred by Doug FNJ, you will, of course, receive a pen that comes with this, a nice special G-Shock pen while supplies last. If you like this video, please press thumbs up. If you really like it, please subscribe. And if you click the bell for notifications, you'll be notified when new reviews come out. I'm going to be doing a lot of them this year. I've been putting a lot so far out there for you to begin with. So you can find me on Twitter at DougFNJ. There's also a fantastic website that I always refer you to, watchuseek.com. Great people, great discussion on watches. Once again, I want to thank you for your support over the years. I hope you enjoyed this review, and have a great night and stay safe. Thank you.